Greetings from Vienna, Austria, and thank you so much for joining me for today's junk journal with me. I'm doing a Feel Good February prompt, which is inspirational quote. I love quotes, I love inspirational quotes, so I really wanted to do this one. I'm using the next available page in my junk journal, and I'm going to cover it with various papers that are fairly neutral. I wanted to kind of stay in the same kind of palish color theme without a lot of background, because for this page I decided to try something a little different, and I'm going to actually try to draw and paint a butterfly. So I used to do a lot of art journaling. That is how I got into journaling, and I started in 2014. And so I was only doing art journaling at that time, so I used a lot of paints and colors and everything. And one of my most favorite supplies was my water-soluble crayons. In particular, I'm using the Caran Neocolor II series, and I just really love them, and I haven't used them in a really long time, and I so enjoyed playing with these again. So that's what I'll be doing in this spread. And what motivated me to try to draw is my very sweet, one of my besties, Farin. She actually asked me about a girl on YouTube who's famous in the bullet journaling world, which is why I didn't know her. Her name is Kristin Mylin. So if you're into bullet journaling, I'm sure you know her amazing channel. Even if you're not into bullet journaling, please check her out. I'm linking her in the description box below. She has phenomenal pages, and she draws like to die for the cutest animals and scenes, and oh my god, it's really to die for. So she has a video where she shows her approach to how she draws things, and so I thought I would just give that a shot because I was curious whether I could do that. And by the way, I apologize so much. As you can see, I'm partly out of frame here. I didn't realize it at the time. It gets better later, but I'm so sorry because I'm at a little more close-up mode with my camera, and I didn't realize that I was not in frame, so I do apologize. So her method is to always draw like this box first, kind of in the shape of whatever you're trying to draw, and then, like in this case, since it has to be symmetrical, I halved it, and then so I kind of know where the proportions need to go, and then kind of work your way from there. So I am trying this approach, and I feel like with the butterfly the most difficult part is trying to keep everything so symmetrical. And so I'm starting off by trying to copy sort of the proportions, and then working my way into drawing the design of the wings. But as you can see later on, I'm not staying true to that design. I'm kind of just following part of it, and the rest I will, like now what I'm doing now is not what's in the real, well, the real in the butterfly that I'm copying. So I'm kind of taking some artistic freedom, and I'm taking my Micron 0.2 pen to outline it after I've sketched everything in pencil. And so this butterfly is from my animal encyclopedia, where I have been making my cutouts for the collages that I've been doing. And this was one of the butterflies that I thought I might use, but then I never used, so I never cut it out. So I thought I would just try to make my own butterfly for this spread. And yeah, so now I'm just outlining everything. Then I'm going to erase the lines, and then I'm going to start coloring with my crayons. And there's several ways you can color with the crayons. But for work like this, I think where you have a lot of small areas, I think it's best to do it in a way where you take your, I'm using a water brush, you can use of course a regular brush as well. So what I do is I wet the tip, and then I kind of use it like that. So as you can see, I'm not, the other way would be to just rub the crayon on the paper and then dilute it with water, but you don't have as much control because the tips aren't that small, and so you can't work that precisely. So I think this method for what I'm doing now works better. And I had no idea what colors I wanted to put where, but I did know I wanted to keep everything in a pale, like pale tones, because that's what I'm really into at the moment, like pastels and peach and pink and these kind of tones. So I wanted to keep it in that range, and I'm kind of just randomly going around using different shades, really without having a bigger plan. And if you're interested in which colors I'm using, like the names, I will list those down below in the description box as well. Like this is one of my favorite ones. It's a I think it's called Copper, if I'm not mistaken, but it's so nice. It has such a nice warm tone to it. And then I have this other one, which I'll have in a second. Yeah, this one is also beautiful. Might be Ochre. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm gonna list it down below. So now I'm just kind of filling in the gaps of what's still left. And you know, I know this is not a masterpiece, but I am proud of myself for having had the courage to do this in an art journal, to try something new that I'd never tried before. And I'm okay with the result. I mean, I think for what, you know, for the amount of practice or non-practice that I've had, I'm totally happy with this. And so now I thought I would maybe add a little bit of a shadow to make it look more like it's floating off the page. And here I'm just giving it some more depth on the body. And then I think I let it dry in between. And now I'm going to outline it one more time with the black after I've put all the colors on, because some of the black has faded a little bit after putting the crayons on there. And while I was doing that, actually the pens kind of stopped working in a little bit. And it's probably because there is some fat or grease or wax or something in these crayons, even though they are water soluble. I mean, they're still crayons, so I guess it kind of clogged up my pen. I cannot tell you how many pens I have ruined in the past, and expensive pens too. So yeah, this is always a struggle. So I'm gonna switch here in a moment to another pen, which is a little thicker, unfortunately, but that's all I had. So this is a 0.2, and the other one's gonna be a 0.5, I believe. But yeah, that's all I had, so I finished it off with that one. And next, I also decided I didn't want to leave the rest of the page like that. It looked too naked for me, so now I'm switching to my wider flat brush, and I'm using that same goldish bronzish color that I used in the butterfly to make a wash with some water, just to give the whole page a more warm feeling. And yeah, it just doesn't look as naked anymore. And I like leaving the white border a little bit around the butterfly because it kind of pops off the page a bit more. So I really like that. And so after letting that dry, I started writing my quote, and there were so many good inspirational quotes that I was reading. It was really hard to choose, but I guess the one that resonated most with me was this one, because it's the current situation I'm in, and it goes, "You don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, let go, and see what happens." And it's by Mandy Hale. and I really, really love this one. So that is it for this spread. No, it's not. I'm sorry. So I of course add the number for today's prompt, which is 22. So I just wanted to add that. And there we have it. There's the spread. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a lovely day. Bye.